Welcome to Come and See, your podcast for finding truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by Living Waters Abide Ministries. With host and founder, Richard Case, and co-host and retreat leader, Trish Harrington. Join us every weekday at this time to discuss news, spend time in the Word, and receive answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. And now your host, Richard Case.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Trish. We'll be airing on August the 3rd, and this will be our new co-host, Trish Harrington's new start with us. Kathy, if you didn't catch last week, she has a new assignment where she's working on some women's ministry stuff. So she needs margin. And as we've talked about it over our course of our history, as we get a new assignment, then what has to come off, and the co-hosting for her had to come off for her marriage and for her life. And it's really important to do that. And so we welcome Trish Harrington.
Thank you. Thanks.
Who lives not too far away. You live in Rhode Island. What town do you live in?
So my husband and I and our family live in Rumford. And it's probably, I'd say, 500 feet from the Massachusetts line where Kathy lives. She doesn't live 500 feet from me, but she does live in Mass. So yeah. We're almost neighbors, about 40 minutes away from each other.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you, does Dean, he generally does work in Providence. He did Providence, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our business
How far is Providence from you guys?
We're about 7 minutes from Providence's east side where Brown University is. So very close. We could actually walk there. It would take us about 25, 30 minutes maybe.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we're taping this right after July 4th, and our family had some big news. We were at the Biltmore in North Carolina, which we took as a family vacation with our grandsons and their potential spouses, but people that they were dating. And Joshua, he actually started with Lockheed Martin this week in Orlando, Florida. So he's
wonderful.
Got his new job. But anyway, he surprised his girlfriend with a engagement ring. And it's really a cool story. This is how, we talk about the covenant. We talk about God's favor. He was, his dad was talking to him about, are you going to, do an engagement at the Biltmore? And he said, well, I'm not sure, it's a family vacation. I don't want to take all the attention, and I may or may not, I'm not sure. And they were actually driving to Orlando to get his apartment set up. And then Joshua says, he said, and by the way, I entered a contest that came out on Instagram of a photographer that will take, engagement pictures and wedding pictures. Mm-hmm. And I won it. And he said, "Oh, great, fantastic." He said, "The only issue is you have to pay the way for the photographer to stay overnight, and come and be where you're going to be, and travel and all that. But they don't charge you for the the fees of the photography." Mm-hmm. He said, "Oh, great." I said, "Well, where do you have to fly her in from?" And Joshua says, "Asheville." and Peter says, "Do you think maybe God's trying to tell you something, that you could have this photographer that you won, and it's right there in Asheville? That's where the Biltmore is, in Asheville." And he said, "Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, And so, boom. So she was there, and he arranged it, And so they took her to this beautiful spot, on the property, and the photographer was already there, but hidden, and she got pictures of the entire thing without even, Brooke, his girlfriend, knowing about it. And then they took 150 pictures all over the place, and that's awesome. It was one of those, wow, how cool is that? And they're beautiful. So she's got a beautiful ring, and they'll probably get married sometime in the spring, maybe in April of 2027.
Wonderful. And that'll be such a special place for them.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. I was fortunate enough to have Linda send me the picture. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful ring, I will say.
Yeah.
He did well. Right. He did well.
He did well. I know you guys had fun. What did you guys do?
So we have a 4th of July party where we have a big celebration. We invite all the adults and the kids. And it's just such a wonderful time for us because we're kind of a patriotic family. And we decorate with everything. And everybody gets in the pool. It's one of those times where I looked around last year and I saw my pool completely filled. There must have been about 25 people in it.
Wow.
Both kids, adults, and we play a lot that day, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So that's neat.
Mm-hmm.
And these, so your extended family is mostly lives around you then, huh?
We do have most of our family around here. We have the two older children who have their own families, one within 3 minutes, the other within 10 minutes, right over the Massachusetts line. My other daughter is just moved to Dallas. She got a job. She graduated from Northwestern back in March, and she got her engineering degree, her design and engineering degree. She got a job with Southwest Airlines in their design and innovation department.
Mm.
I can never figure out how to tell people what she does. She gave me a script. I can't figure it out just yet. I will. I'll get that down. And then we have Brady, who does live at home, but she's in Pittsburgh. She's at school at the University of Pittsburgh. She's going to be a junior in nursing. She's in the nursing program. So she's home for the summer. Mm-hmm. She actually has some friends here now. She has 4 of her college friends who got in last night, and that's exciting. So we're going to have a fun week with them.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is she, when you graduate with that degree, do you have to go then into further education before you become a nurse, or you just go to work for a hospital or something?
So she wants to go work for a hospital first. Her ultimate goal is to become a nurse practitioner, but she wants to get some good clinical patient care prior to them to gain the experience. So she'll probably go on, but not immediately.
Nice.
It's exciting.
How does your older daughter like Dallas?
It's hot. She says it's hot, but she's lived in Chicago and Evanston for a few years now, and she loved Chicago. It was difficult for her to leave. She had a great friend group there, and she loves the big city. She loves being able to just get in on the transportation system or walk to a restaurant, etc. But she's finding it a little different in Dallas. But she is in Uptown, so it's Dallas light.
Yeah.
But it's hot. It's hot right now. So. Yeah. But she does love it. She's getting used to it.
Oh, great. Yeah. If she's living there, she's probably not that. I think Southwest office is not too far from there.
Yeah, she's right. She's right in at Love Field. Takes about 15 minutes to get to work. So, and she's loving it. She said the other night to Dean and I, she said, it's my dream job. And that's so wonderful to hear that
What a great thing to, when you start a career and you actually like what you're doing and the people that you're doing it with, are good, to work with. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we're introducing a new series. It's called Come to the Light. We did this, probably several years ago, where we worked through the scriptures about basically the issue between light and dark. And in a world today where there's so much darkness, and think of darkness as the absence of light. So when we're looking at it spiritually, it's the absence of the power of the light, the truth of God, operating in our life, so that believers can be, interesting enough, functioning in the darkness because they're not actually walking with God, and they're getting absorbed into the issues of the world that is controlled by darkness. And because of that, and this is interesting enough, people that aren't believers, they know that, I don't believe in God, or no, I don't have that. So they don't even think anything differently, that, my world is just what it is. I have a certain truth that I live, and they don't even consider that they're living in darkness because they think it's just natural, to be there. Well, believers, interesting enough, are in the most dangerous position, because if we're not walking with God and understanding what it means to live in the light, we think we're living in the light because we're a believer, but we're living in the dark. Mm-hmm. And think of the most interesting dilemma that presents is that I operate as if I'm living in the light, but I'm actually living in the dark, but I don't know I'm living in the dark. So it's a place where we have to truly understand, well, what is it to live in the light? Why is that so important, particularly in today's life of deception and untruth and things that aren't of God, for us to wind up, living in that beautiful place, And so that's why we think this would be a good series for all of us to understand, so that we can get some clarity about this and motivate us to say, I'd rather live in the light because that's going to be the best place to live. And understand it. So as we start this, we have to understand, what does a dark world look like? And we've gone through this verse before in John 10:10 that calls about Christ has come to give us super abundant life. But it starts with a statement about the world and Satan. If you would go ahead and read that. That's in John 10:10.
The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly.
Yeah. Okay. So he's talking about the enemy. And the enemy, remember, which we've described, is in control of the world. He has authority over the world, which is why we have a very troubled life because of that. And it was handed over to by Adam and Eve. He's had it ever since. And it says in the New Testament, he's still in control of the world. Now, he's not superior to God's sovereignty over the world or God's power over the world. So in the kingdom, this is what we're going to talk about. The kingdom, regardless that we're living in a dark place, we can live in the light because we can be in the kingdom, which is light, and is superior to this dark world. But the nature of it, as you read it, what's the nature as it describes, the enemy? What does the enemy do? What's the world like? What does it say there?
It's dark. He steals. He destroys. Yeah. He's just. It's black. It's.
Yeah. It's kill, steal, and destroy. Mm-hmm. And see, that's the nature of it. Mm-hmm. It's not once in a while. It's not that
all the time.
He operates, I can try to do this, but rather the nature of the world is destruction. And what we talk about is entropy. Entropy is that everything left alone will go to destruction. And that would be even inanimate objects, like collapsed, buildings or bridges or your property. If when we were at the Biltmore, we went on a tour and they talked about that after the Vanderbilt, George Vanderbilt, who built it, by the way. I mean, there's all kinds of funny things about it, but think about this, Trish. Mm-hmm. He was part of the Vanderbilt family, and you know them because of Rhode Island.
Oh, yeah. Newport Mansions, yeah.
Yeah, the Newport Mansions. And, and he decided with his inheritance that, and by the way, he got his inheritance in a trust fund prior to, even everybody dying. He said, I don't want to live that lifestyle. I want to live in a more peaceful area and build a beautiful home, that would be just great for families, et cetera. So he builds 175,000 square foot house in 1890s. Wow.
That's how big it is?
Yeah, that's the house. And he'd bought 120,000 acres. Mm-hmm. And he builds this 175,000 square foot house, and he was a bachelor.
Oh, that's crazy.
So when he moved in, and Chrissy moved in Christmas 1895, mm-hmm. It was just him. That's it. And all of these servants, and mm-hmm. and then he got married and then had a family and they preserved it. But they got hit. He died in 1914. His wife kind of went into a deep level of grieving for quite a while. So she just kind of shut down.
After she went into it after he passed away?
After he passed away, because he passed away when he was only 51 years old. And she kind of just went into a sadness. And she kind of I couldn't take care of the house, So her daughter, Cornelia, had to take care of the house, and it was very difficult. And so it went into disrepair. Mm-hmm. And it was falling apart because of entropy, because of destruction, and even a most beautiful place like that, mm-hmm. all by itself goes to destruction. So that the characteristic of Satan is to kill, steal, and destroy. And that means that darkness, and remember, think of the opposite of God, is operating all the time around everybody, including particularly believers, to try to get them not to, follow God. Mm-hmm. And he said, so the nature of it, is darkness. Okay, so go to Proverbs 2:13. And again, these are just statements that we're trying to set up about difference between light and dark.
Those who lead the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness.
Yeah, so he said, the ones that forsake and leave the path of uprightness, there is a way of uprightness. And uprightness is walking with God in the light. They walk automatically in the way of darkness. Okay, so when you think about that, what's the difference? See, either you're walking in the way of righteousness, in the way of him, or mm-hmm. if you're not, now remember he said, it's not that you're choosing, I'll walk in the light or I'll walk in the dark. He said, if you're not walking in the light, you're walking where?
In the dark.
In the dark. Mm-hmm. See, it's automatically.
No gray.
And there's no gray about it. Mm-hmm. And that means there's a distinction between them. And if you're not walking in the way of uprightness, but you think you are, you've defined your darkness as light, but it's not.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That's dangerous. And so that's what we have to try to distinguish is what is that difference and how do we know the difference? Okay, then go to Proverbs 4:19.
Way of the wicked is like darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble.
Okay, now there's kind of an interesting statement.
Oh yeah.
He said, okay, and remember the word wicked here isn't awful, dark, black, purposely, living wickedness. It's the absent of walking with God, and you're in the deep darkness, and therefore he says you don't know what
makes you stumble.
Yeah. I don't even understand. Why am I stumbling? Why is this not working? Why am I having difficulty? I'm stumbling around. And again, the way I characterize it is we're just walking in a very troubled place, and you're hitting all these obstacles because you can't really see it well.
We all know Christians like this. Yeah. And we look at them, they explain something to us, and we just kind of shake our head and say, God, please let them see this light, because they should know why they're stumbling and they just don't. And we try to tell them, and they're just not seeing it. I think every Christian has gone through that in their own head, and we've tried to explain it, and they're just not seeing it.
Yeah, and when you think about that, what is it that you see? What is it that you see?
Sometimes the sin, right? Yeah. The reason why they're stumbling, but they just can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because see, it's and that's what we're trying to get to is that, well, why do you say that? Because, well, you can observe that they're missing some things because they're not seeing them. And when we're walking in the light, we see, and we can even see it for other people. Like, hey,
that's
I understand,
such a gift.
Why you're stumbling. Let me help you, come to the truth of that, because it'll be way, way better. Don't you want to see? In other words, why you're having difficulty.
That's, I think, one of the issues that I've had in the past is I've seen this happening, and I immediately go to 100 miles an hour, and I start spewing, well, this is the reason why, this is the reason why, this is the reason why, and they come back and they think it's judgment. And I'm just like, well, no, I can see it. I can see it in you.
Yeah. And we'll talk about how do we help people with that, because that's the issue. We see it and they're not, because they're walking around the darkness. Yeah. Okay, and then he makes a statement about the walk, the path in James 3:13-18. He distinguishes, where the wisdom comes from.
Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast and lie against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, demonic. For there envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. Now the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace.
Yeah. So he said there's a distinction. He said if you're walking in the dark world and you're receiving what you think is wisdom, and wisdom is, I think I know what to do. He said the characteristic of it is actually sensual, it's self-seeking, and that's basically why we're walking in the darkness, because I am seeking my own way. I'm determining my own way. By definition, I'm not walking with God, which means I'm in the darkness. And he said that's where there is confusion. And you're not sure. Okay, so if you're confused and you're trying to make your way, what do we tend to do? If we're confused but we're not going to God and we're trying to figure this out, what do we do?
Try to get control.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get control. And I try different things. What about this? What about this? What about this? And it becomes very confusing because nothing is working and I'm trying all these different things. I can't figure out why is the path not clear to me. Why? Well, because you're walking in the darkness and you're following the enemy's, confusion, which is what he wants you to get involved with is, I want you to stay confused. And you could even, by the way, invite other Christian fellowship with you, and all they do is give you their opinion, and you get more confused. And he said, but the wisdom from above is pure. It's clear. It's absolute. Let me show you this. And there's a purity about it. And he said, it'll lead to peace. It'll lead to shalom. It'll lead to favor. You'll start to see things come together, and then you walk in that. And then he said, you help others walk in that, because you become a peaceful person that knows the difference between wisdom from God and wisdom not from God. So he said the darkness is really defined by where you're walking. And he said, there's indicators that if you're in a place of confusion and disorder, it's not of God. And you can be
and
in
anxiety and worry, right?
Yeah.
That is definitely not.
Yeah. And you're fretting and you're figuring out. And he said, well, if you then come to me, I'll start to give you pure wisdom and it'll lead you to a settling. You'll know the path. And that's why the light will overcome the darkness. By the way, you're still in the same place. Mm-hmm. But you're walking now in a place where there's light as you maneuver through the darkness. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So Rich, I have a question. So as a new believer, for someone listening who's a new believer, how would you suggest if they're confused, if they have anxiety, if they have worry about it, what is the first step? Just what is that one thing they could do today to help?
Yeah. Well, James 1:5-8. Says, if you lack wisdom, ask God and he'll give it to you. And the word there is generously in the English, in the Hebrew, or in the Greek, it's with great clarity. And all you have to do is believe that he'll give it to you. Not even believe what he says, because that'll take some time to process and receive. But hey, I'm confused. I don't know. I'm trying. Things aren't working. And he says, well, come to me in prayer and just say, Father, I need your wisdom. And I'm going to have a heart to listen and receive your wisdom. And God says, I will get it to you with great clarity. And there's this is cool. There's no condition to that. Mm-hmm. In other words, you just said a new believer. Now, by the way, it could be people that have been believers for a long time, but they're still, not walking in the light. God doesn't say, when you become a more mature believer, I'll let you know. He said, you can be just converted. You don't know anything at all about walking with God. But if you ask me, I'll get you the answer in a way that you can understand it. And what I describe this is like, we had our two grandsons with them and they're 3 years apart. So when one was, like 5 and the other one was 8, they could stand in front of me, ask me the same question. I could give them an answer.
20 times they'd ask it, right?
Yeah. And the 8-year-old, I got it. The 5-year-old, I don't understand the thing you just said. It doesn't, what? I didn't say, well, when you get 8, I'll tell you. What do? I change my words. I change my communication. I change my ability to explain into a language that he can understand. And he's like, oh, that's what you're talking about. And that's what God says I'll change how I communicate to you based on where you are, even if you're an immature believer or a new believer, but I'll get you the answer. And then the second thing to do, we'll see this later, would be start to gather some people around you that can help you do that. And again, with us, you can communicate to us and say, hey, I need some people around me. I need some help around me. We'll get you the help. Because you need a person to walk with you who particularly understands how to walk with God. And as you do, you'll learn it. And as you learn it, interesting enough, you'll help other people around you. But it's just a heart to say, I want to learn this because I know I'm not living in the light and I want to learn what it means to live in the light. So it's a great question. Yeah. Well, Heavenly Father, we thank you for helping us launch this new series of Come to the Light. We understand that we live naturally in a dark world that is kill, steal, and destroy, that we don't even understand sometimes what we're doing. We're stumbling around because we're not walking in the light. And so we just pray that we'll learn, what does it mean to really walk in the light because of the privilege we have to walk in the light with you. And we thank you now in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much for sharing with us, Rich. And thank you for joining us, listeners. If you have any questions about today's podcast, please send them to us at questions@abideministries.com. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
See you then.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Come and See, your podcast for truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by Living Waters Abide Ministries. Send us your questions and comments and tune in tomorrow for more answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. Remember, God's will is best and none better. His truth brings peace in this world of chaos.